ice 2 weeks. So I'm in I'm based out of Central Texas.
Wow.
And we had a whole bunch of ice not long ago, and that was kind of not the most pleasant of experiences,
Yeah,
because
that is.
everybody's like, well, you're from Chicago, you should be used to it. And it's like, yes, but in Chicago we had these crazy things called snowplows that you guys just don't seem to have. So
Yeah.
awesome, awesome. But if you are ready, I will do the intro and we can jump into it.
Okay, I'm ready. Yeah.
All right, here we go. Welcome everybody to another live and amplified livecast. I'm your host Tom Quiet, and we are back at it again with another amazing podcast today. We have a very special guest. We have Shelby Lynn Madison. How's it going today?
Good, how are you?
Doing really well. Doing really well. It's Thursday, so it's like Friday Eve, I guess is what the cool kids say now. So,
Yes.
just kind
Yeah.
of enjoying the time off as I get it. So
Yes.
awesome, awesome. So
Good.
you're born and raised in Virginia, correct?
Yes, sir. Yep, I'm born and raised in Virginia. Yep.
Awesome. So what was it like growing up in Virginia for you?
It was nice. We have all the seasons here, so that's good. I like that. Um, Here in Virginia, there's not a lot of people that play music, so that was a little bit of
Hmm.
a downfall in Virginia. Um, but other than that, it's been great.
Gotcha. Is it not a big bluegrass scene in Virginia, or is that more like West Virginia?
Yeah, I think that's more West Virginia, but my parents actually had a bluegrass band when I was growing up, so that's what kind of got me into the music.
Nice. Was that like kind of the direction you thought you were going to go in? Was bluegrass or not really?
No, not really. I love bluegrass. I love all genres of music, but country is where my heart's at. So yeah.
Gotcha. Gotcha. So your parents really helped you kind of find your passion for music. Is that fair to say? Or was it
Yes,
something else?
I got my first guitar when I was 9. My dad took me and bought me my first guitar, so and then he said that I needed to pick it up every day. So
Fair. Fair.
yeah.
What do you remember what kind of guitar it was?
Yeah, it was a Martin. Yep, it
Okay.
was my first guitar. I said that's the guitar I'm gonna play on the Grand Ole Opry.
Nice.
So
So you still have it, I take it?
yes, I still
Okay.
have it.
That's
Yes.
cool. That's like a valuable piece of um memorabilia or a family heirloom or something,
Yeah, it's
that's really
very sentimental. Yes.
that's cool. That's cool. Um, so when did you kind of discover that you could sing or that like I mean obviously your parents helped you find your passion in music, but when did you kind of discover that you could sing or wanted to sing?
Yeah, so I started singing when I was 2. My
Mhm.
signature song was "You Ain't Woman Enough to Take My Man" by Loretta Lynn.
That's
And then I always had a passion for music. It's always been in my blood. It's always been something that I've always loved to do.
mhm.
My dad's side of the family, they all play music, so I just kind of was brought into it. But when I turned 16, it was time to get a job. So that's when I really started doing my music and pursuing it.
Nice. Was that so by get a job, is that when you just started doing shows and whatnot, or is yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Doing shows, playing out. Yes.
Gotcha, gotcha. So during those formative years of your music, like when you first started singing and performing and all that stuff, who were you listening to? Obviously, you'd mentioned that your go-to song was a Loretta Lynn song, but like who else were you kind of listening to at that time?
Yeah. So my musical inspirations are the older folks. I'd say Keith Whitley is my main one. I love Keith Whitley. Merle Haggard, Hank Williams Jr., all of those. But then I was listening to Morgan Wallen and Riley
Mhm.
Green and people like that. Those are my newer inspirations, but I also love older country music. So,
Awesome, awesome. Morgan Wallen is such an interesting story. Like I didn't realize until recently that he was discovered on The Voice, like that or
yeah.
not, he came up on The Voice and I saw that original video and I'm like, holy cow, that that's him. I wouldn't have expected it or
Me,
known it was him. So yeah,
me neither. Yeah.
that's so wild. Um, So growing up in Virginia, you said there wasn't much of a music scene. So was it hard for you to get like gigs in the or those early stages, or because there is not much of a music scene, it was actually kind of
Well, Well, it was kind of easy and hard at the same time because of my age and only being 16. Places like the bar places and the bar scenes wouldn't let me in. So I would have to do wineries and things like that. And then sometimes right after the show ended, I would have to leave because I wasn't 21.
right.
Um, but yeah, so it was kind of easy and hard at the same time.
Fair enough. Those bar stories for young musicians are always heartbreaking, but still very entertaining because, like if you had like a band with everybody else that was 21, they just kind of be like, we didn't see nothing, we don't know nothing. But
Right.
then like being a solo musician, it's kind of like, yeah, we can't work around that one. So,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
yeah. So, you said so after, did you move to Nashville after you graduated high school, or when did you end up deciding to move to Nashville?
Yeah, so I moved to Nashville when I was 19.
Hmm.
Um, and then, yeah, I'd stayed there for a year and then I moved back home when I was 20.
Was it
Um,
the pandemic that caused you to go back or go back home
well,
or
it's kind of an interesting story. I thought I fell in love, so I moved back home because I fell in love, but then I realized that wasn't enough. So,
okay, perfect.
yeah.
So how is that like even a year in Nashville is such a great learning time, like a time to learn because you're around so many creatives all the time. What was that year in Nashville like for you?
It was great. I made a lot of connections. I met a lot of good people. So Nashville was great. I got to do a lot of songwriter rounds and
Mm.
things like that. So
Did you
yeah,
get to play the Bluebird?
I didn't. No, I
No.
never got a chance to play the Bluebird, but hopefully when I go back out there, I'll be able to.
Nice, nice, nice. I'm hoping
Yeah,
to get back out to Nashville here in the next month or so. I haven't been since pre-pandemic, so it's
yeah,
yeah, it was one of those things where it's like I've been to Memphis a few different times since then, but I haven't been to Nashville, and it's just like, yeah, maybe I need to make that trip back to Nashville. So,
yeah. I
but
definitely do. Yeah.
yeah, awesome. Um, so kind of leading after leaving Nashville to go back home, where are you kind of at in your musical career at that? Are you writing and releasing music at that point, or are you just performing? Where are you kind of at in your career at that point?
Yeah, so I was working with a PR company called Groot Public
Mm,
Relations. And I was working with them, so we were working on getting my songs released and things like that, but I was kind of just doing the songwriter rounds and trying to make as
mm,
many connections as possible. And in that time is when I recorded my 4 songs that will be released. So I have 2 songs coming out that are going to be singles,
mm.
and then I have an EP coming out. So
Gotcha. Awesome. Speaking of the two singles that you have coming out, you have one dropping tonight if you're listening
yeah,
live tonight at midnight, or if you're listening on Spotify afterwards, it dropped today, I guess technically.
yeah.
What's the name of the song, and what can you tell us about it?
Yeah, it's called Saying Goodbye. And I wrote it about a heartbreak. I actually, sometimes it's not the ideal situation to say goodbye, but sometimes it's the best thing for both parties. So I had to come to that conclusion, and I was going through a tough breakup. Um, and I just wrote about how I felt. I was going through COVID at the time, and I needed to find something to do. So writing the song, really helped me get over that. So get over
Um,
that breakup and yeah.
there. I'm surprised you had the energy to even do anything, let alone write when going through COVID. Man, I just had it over Christmas, and
Wow.
I was asleep for like 3 days straight. I couldn't move.
Really? Oh
Yeah.
wow. See, I didn't even know I had COVID.
Wow.
It wasn't that bad. It was like a sinus infection for
Hmm.
me. So
Well, I think what exacerbated it for me was the fact that I was in the middle of like a 17-hour car trip to Chicago. I
Oh,
was driving up
wow.
to Chicago and I was
Yeah.
already tired and I just kind of started feeling weird and I was like, huh, I don't feel well. So I
Yeah.
stopped and I fell asleep and then I got up and I was like, oh wow, I really don't feel well. So let me get to Chicago as quickly as possible so I can actually sleep. And then I slept for like 2 days. And then my sister was like, here, you got to take a COVID test because nobody should sleep for 2 days straight. And I'm like, I mean, if it's COVID, y'all are screwed anyways, because,
Yeah.
I just kind of been around and yeah, that's what it ended up being. So
Oh, wow.
yeah, it was bad. Um, but so you wrote during your COVID experience, or I almost said COVID experience, but I guess it's not, I guess they both work, right? Maybe.
Yeah, they both work, I
Yeah.
guess.
So saying goodbye, you wrote while you were in having COVID.
Yeah,
Um,
Nashville, yeah.
what was it about this song that you wanted it to be? Why'd you want to release it now? Why did you want it to kind of be that first representation of this EP project?
Because I feel like this represents me a lot. I've had a lot of saying goodbye moments,
Mm, yeah,
so I feel like this represents me a lot. And also my PR company, they helped on that process
gotcha,
as well. So yeah.
gotcha. What do you hope people take away from the song? Or is there anything you
Well,
hope they take away?
I hope that they can relate to it, but I also hope that they can't relate to it.
Yeah,
Because heartbreak is never easy. But I just, you know, that saying goodbye period is a hard period to go through. So um, I hope maybe it can initiate a good saying goodbye moment for somebody.
awesome, awesome. And then have you announced release dates for the next single and then the rest of the EP, or is that still kind of
Yeah,
fluctuating?
that's still in the works. Yeah, me and
Gotcha.
my PR company are working on it. Yeah.
Gotcha. Is there any shot of like a music video? Have you thought about doing like music videos and stuff like that, or is that not something you've?
Um, we haven't talked about that yet,
Okay,
so I'm
fair.
not 100% sure about that. But
Gotcha. I figured I'd ask because that seems to music videos seem to be a very hit or miss thing, but they seem to be kind of making a comeback, like where people are
yeah,
doing music videos if they can afford it. But yeah, so
yeah,
just because they're not obviously not cheap to do. So
yeah, yeah.
awesome. Um, so obvious as we're recording right now, you're about maybe 5 hours from 4 hours from the release of the first single. What's running through your mind right now?
Yeah, that's a good question. I just hope that it does well, and I I hope that people can relate. So
Fair,
that's yeah.
fair. And then do you have any shows planned around the release? Are you like playing tomorrow somewhere or
No, I'm actually not. I haven't started playing out around here yet.
okay,
So yeah, hopefully
fair,
some trips to Nashville here pretty soon.
fair. Yeah,
Yeah.
Nashville's kind of getting to that point where they're starting to kick right back up. Like I know they got like CRS next month, and then before you know it'll be CMA Fest and
Yeah,
you know
yeah,
Summer Nam and like all that stuff. So yeah,
yeah.
it's Nashville's going to be hopping this year. So
Yes, I
nice.
believe so too.
Yeah. So outside of music, when you kind of need to take time to decompress and relax, what do you do? What are some of your hobbies outside of the music industry?
Well, I love to hunt. I love to ride four-wheelers, shoot guns. I'm a country girl, so I love to do all that stuff.
Nice,
Even though I might not look like it, I still do. So, yeah. Um, but yeah, I just like to have a good time, bonfires, playing music while the bonfire's going,
nice,
things like that. Yeah.
awesome. What's what do you usually hunt in Virginia? Is it like deer and stuff like that, or
Deer. Yeah.
okay, okay.
Yeah.
Was I didn't know if there was like an elk season or if it was just primarily like deer and turkey and stuff like that.
Yeah, just deer, turkey, dove hunting. Yeah, things like
Gotcha.
that.
I
Yeah.
will say I went to school in Southern Illinois, and half of my the 2 years I stayed there, I lived in a house with five other guys, and half the house hunted. And when it was deer season, we never had to worry about meat. When it was turkey season, we never had to worry
Yeah.
about meat. It was the best time. It was great. I loved it so
Yeah.
much. So
Oh, wow.
I never got to try dove because they would dove hunt if they had time, but it wasn't like their big thing
Main
that they would.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So um so that's obviously a really cool thing that you do. And I guess it makes sense in Virginia is yeah. So I don't know where I was going with that one, but uh w- so I had a note here about from just kind of doing some research that mental health is very important to you. I was trying to figure out how I wanted to approach this subject because obviously mental health isn't the easiest thing to talk about, especially just like I for whatever reason musicians in general have a hard time talking about mental health.
Yeah. Yeah. It is a tough subject to talk about. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
So how do you keep yourself positive, motivated, and make sure that your mental health is kind of always in, I don't want to say in check, but
But yeah,
for
I know
yeah,
what you mean. Yeah, well, I just do a lot of praying and reading the Bible. So that's one thing that I do. But I have had my tough times and rough times, but I feel like to keep me grounded and to keep me sane, I pray a lot and I also do a lot of reading in the Bible and things like that. So listen to a lot of preaching. I go to church every Sunday, so I wouldn't say every Sunday. Some Sundays I sleep in, but for the most part, that's how I stay grounded.
awesome. It would you say that's your main motivator right now? Or what would you say your main motivation is? Like just that keeps you motivated, I guess.
Yeah, that keeps me motivated is my music and Jesus. Those are the two things that keep me motivated and keep me going. If I didn't have Jesus, I don't know. I wouldn't have anything. So,
Fair, very fair. So with your music, you mentioned that you hadn't started playing out yet in Virginia where you're at. It is it just because you're not familiar with the scene, or have you been just so focused on recording and all that stuff?
yeah, I've just been so focused on recording and things like that. Yeah, I've been kind of just focusing on the social media part of it
Hmm,
rather than playing out. So,
fair,
yeah.
fair, fair. What's your preferred social media platform right now? Where would you say you're most active?
I'm most active on TikTok.
Really?
But my main, I like Instagram the
Yeah.
most. Yeah.
I think Instagram's kind of slowly becoming the new Facebook. I think all they need to do is figure out a way to merge Threads and Instagram into one app,
Yes.
and then
Yeah.
it'll be perfect to me. Like to me, it'll be perfect. So
I think so too. Yes.
yeah, because like right now, Threads is such a grind. It's like it's that extra thing that you have to do, and it's like kind of annoying, but
Yes. No, I'm not gonna lie. It is very annoying.
yeah, because there's like no search feature. Well, there's a search feature, but you can't put like hashtags to like easily connect people. You're just kind of relying on the algorithm to connect
Yes.
you with people of common interest. And it's like, I'm good. So
It's kind of a hit or miss thing. Yeah.
yeah, for sure, for sure. So it's January 25th as we sit here and talk. We've still got a whole bunch of months left in the year. What are you really looking forward to in 2024?
I'm really looking forward to pushing my music and getting like all this situated. I'm so glad that my first single is releasing in January. So I'm just looking forward to my music and what God has in store for that for me.
Nice. And you obviously we've talked about you you haven't started playing in Virginia yet, but for a typical Shelby live show, what does that look like? Is it just you doing like a
Yeah,
solo
it's just
acoustic?
me. It's just me and a bar stool, well, or a stool, and just sitting around playing
Yeah,
music.
gotcha, gotcha. Is and that I really like that, just like that type of aesthetic, like just a solo acoustic act, because it really puts the musician up front and like real musicianship because you don't really have anything to hide behind.
Right. Yeah.
It's all you, your voice, and your guitar. And
I
yeah,
get
you can kind of fake the guitar a little bit, but at the end of the day, it's all on you.
yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what I was saying like earlier, is it's kind of hard because there's not a lot of musicians in Virginia.
Hmm.
So it's kind of hard to find that band. So that's why I've always kind of been a solo act.
Yeah.
But it's kind of good being a solo act because you get to make all the money.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't have to worry about schedules. You don't got to worry about making sure everybody else gets paid. Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
good times. So
Yeah.
that's awesome. Um, so as far as like music right now, who are you listening to? Who have you listened to and really enjoy?
Morgan Wallen is the main one, but people like Riley Green, Miranda Lambert, Keith Whitley, a lot of Keith Whitley. Um, and then, yeah, that's
Yeah.
pretty much
Is it
it.
is there any like up and coming artists that you've kind of caught on to the last like 6 months or so?
When I was in Nashville, I played a show with Ella Langley.
Uh-huh.
So she's up and coming, and so I've
Nice.
been watching her a lot. She has a song called "Hey Ma, I Made It," and I told my mom I can't wait to call you and say, "Hey Ma, I made it."
Nice. That's really cool. It's I,
Yes.
so when you were in Nashville, how often you said you were playing primarily writers rounds?
Yes. Yeah.
Was that how often were you playing? Like several times a week or
Just a show every now and then.
oh,
Whenever people would reach out and said that they needed an act to be opened or anything like that, or they had an open slot. I did a lot of writing in Nashville too with a lot of different people. So
gotcha. Uh, since we're on the writing topic, what's your creative process? How do you usually approach writing a song?
yeah, it normally starts off with a melody. I
Hmm.
normally get a melody, and then once I get that, then I start going with the lyrics.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
It is it usually a little bit more spontaneous, like you'll be driving down the road and then it hits, or are you a little bit more controlled with your writing and can kind of be scheduled?
No, it's kind of spontaneous. Like, um, yeah, I'll be driving down the road and I'll think of a tune or think of a lyric or think of a line. So it's kind of just out of the blue.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And so do you go through phases where you're just like more creative than other times, or would you say you're pretty consistent across the board?
No, I would say that I go through periods where I'm creative and then I have writer's block and then I can't think of anything. So yeah, definitely, yeah, different.
Sure,
Yeah.
fair, fair. Is there a song that you're currently working on that's kind of been keeping you awake at night, or are you kind of in a
Yeah, there is. It's called Bum of Smoke. So y'all be looking forward for that song.
what's kind of is it holding? Is it like holding? Is it like are you still working on it, or were you kind of struggling with that song right now?
Yeah, it's just getting the lyrics down and thinking of the lyrics and getting the situation down right and things like that. So,
Gotcha. Do you find it's easier for you to write a song if you have experience about the feeling that you're trying to convey, or do you find it
yes.
okay?
Yes, I definitely feel that way. Yeah, if I have a whatever I'm feeling, I like to write. So,
Gotcha. Fair enough. Cool, cool. And so then just kind of moving forward, it's getting everything situated, get the single out tonight, the next single, and then the EP. And I hope everybody listening will go check it out. The link will be in the description, all that fun stuff. So we'll try and help promote as much as we can and get you as many views as we can, and
Oh,
hope,
well, thank you.
hopefully get you back down to Nashville as quickly as possible because you know ne as back and forth as I go on Nashville, oh, it's too expensive. I'm not moving there. Oh, I'd be in such a better place if I was in Nashville, but Nashville, there's really like once you get there and in the community, there's something really special about Nashville.
Yes, it is.
So
Yeah.
awesome. So are you a full-time musician at this point, or do you have a job to kind of support your music habit?
Well, I'm actually gonna start going to esthetician school, not
Oh, wow.
yeah. So in March I'll be going to esthetician school.
Nice.
But right now it's just full-time music until the esthetician school.
Nice. Is that something that you've always been interested in, or?
Yes, I love to do like makeup and things like that. So that's what esthetician is all about. So
Nice. Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, I had when I was living out in New Mexico, I had a friend that was I don't think it was technically esthetician school. I think it was more a beauty school because I think
right.
all they focused on was more like cutting hair and stuff like that.
Yes, yeah.
Um, and so, but she did like she was a makeup artist for film, and so she did a
Oh
bunch of like
wow.
film work and stuff like that. And yeah, so that was kind of like my first introduction into like makeup and all that stuff. And I'm like, I'm a guy, I don't follow any of this, so
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, no, I got it.
But um, so if anybody wants to check out your music or catch a show as soon as you start booking them and all that fun stuff, where's the best place to find you?
I have a website, ShelbyLynnMadison.com, but I also have my social medias. I'll be posting on there too.
Nice.
So Shelby Lynn Madison on everything. Shelby Lynn Madison music on everything.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, once again, thank you so much for joining us. I really, really appreciate it. And I've enjoyed the conversation. Um, but just as we kind of wrap this up, what's one piece of advice you have for the young musicians out there?
Yeah, don't ever give up. Keep going, and God has got you along the way. So,
Awesome.
um, yeah, the Bible says He'll never leave you nor forsake you, and He's got plans to prosper you and not to harm you. So, just never give up.
Yep. 100% agree. But once again, thank you so much for joining us. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in, and we will catch you all later.
Okay, thank you.
Awesome. Where's all my buttons at? Stop recording. Stop this.